Just come with me. I'll take you on a little tour to Flowers by M. Ceylon that's located at Havelock City Mall. Now here is a chance for you to dream and recreate any synopsis that's in your head in terms of making it absolutely gorgeous. With flowers not only that are grown here in Sri Lanka, but also flowers from across the world could be brought down through Flowers by M. Ceylon. These guys have made a name for themselves in Sydney, Australia, and they have opened their second branch here in terms of their industry expertise. They have been in the business for so long, so now it's just a matter of us enjoying their expertise. So go visit them today, make that booking, and celebrate your special occasions with a touch of class, as Flowers by M. Ceylon really adds that. I'm telling you, the struggle is real. You have a little bit of this, it's a bit hard to find the shirts that you want to wear. You can be stylish, fresh, and at the same time have options to choose from. I'm talking about a true Sri Lankan brand that really makes this show colorful. It can make your wardrobe colorful as well when you do visit Double XL. Visit them at their flagship store, which is right smack in Bamlavidia, if not at One Golf East Colombo. Enjoy some great shopping, knowing that it's truly Sri Lankan.
Danu on Fire, powered by
I just say it.
With the presidential elections on the card, what's going to be the future of Sri Lanka? Let's speak to the person who is currently advising our opposition leader, Talal, on Danu on Fire. It's time for another episode of Danu on Fire, and with me I have Talal. We're checking out the Breeze Bar. It's not so breezy today, but anyway, Talal gave me some very key information. Elections have been lost because of sweat. Where was that?
That was, I wouldn't say lost, but had an effect, the presidential elections. Nixon and Kennedy in the US.
And Kennedy won because Nixon had sweat patch. Thank you for being here, Talal. Talal is he's an economist, but at the same time he does many other things. Believe it or not, you are a fan request.
Right. Thank you.
To have you on this show. And a lot of people have written, because it's nice to have young people coming on and, you know, supporting the growth of our ever so sketchy economy. So to start things off, you're currently working with the opposition leader. Tell me about it.
So I was appointed as a policy advisor to the opposition leader.
So before you, they asked me, and I said my policies are a bit too...
Right. So it's an interesting thing. So I've known Mr. Premadasa for a couple of years.
Right.
So we've been working together, but he wanted me to come in formally last month as his policy advisor. So it's quite an interesting period.
So I have to ask you, Talal, especially with you and the amount of knowledge that you actually have, tell me about where do you feel Sri Lanka is heading in terms of our sustainability in having this country being stable?
So I think overall the stability was always the goal of the IMF. So that has been to a certain extent achieved. But whether the sustainability or of the stability can be upheld beyond 2028 is a question, because there is a little bit of a breathing space because some of the payments are deferred till 28. But beyond that, we have to get through the tough reforms that are essential. Otherwise, we'll just be walking into another crisis post 2028/29. So that's the situation of the country. So at the moment, we have to, it's absolutely crucial that some of the tough reforms are done.
What would you tell somebody who is young, who is educated, who is seen the world, who is making that decision to move from here?
So I would say that there is hope in this country. Because before I move on to why, let me say where we are currently. Of course, I've stated this before, Sri Lanka GDP per capita in South Asia, with the exception of Maldives, which we can consider as a small country with just 500,000 people, we are still the richest country in South Asia, highest GDP per capita. So when it comes to education, according to a UN organization, number one. Human Development Index, number one. Life expectancy, highest in South Asia. Even when it comes to democracy, we're a country where there hasn't been a military coup or an unfair arrest of an opposition leader or a past president. So there is a lot to be proud of. And even when it comes to corruption, up until the mid-2000s, we were the least corrupt country in South Asia. So there is a lot to be proud about. And even if we are going to start off from this period, I think we are in a sort of not a bad position to get off. Of course, we have been we did default, but then India came close to it in 91, Thailand in 97 after the Asian financial crisis, South Korea. I mean, these were all in a bad state, and they all recovered well. So there is hope, but the young people, whoever is to stay, has to push for the reforms. We cannot look at short-sighted gains. We have to, of course, it's going to be difficult, but if we do the reforms, everyone, your children, grandchildren can have a good life.
Well, you heard it from somebody who is younger than 40, who told you to stay. So I think that's a reason for you to do so. Because considering the fact that we have had such a brain drain has really, demotivated a lot of people from staying in this country. And it's such a sad thing to see, because we're so beautiful as a country, and why let it all go for whom? It's funny how you said till the early 2000s, we were actually one of the least corrupted countries in terms of, but from 2000 to now, we got so corrupted and we were able to lose all the capital that we might have stored so too fast. Do you feel like at any point we will be able to come back to what we were before 2000?
So yes, of course, but as I mentioned, people tend to think that corruption is the only issue, but of course that's a major issue, but there are a number of other reforms that are essential. So even if we solve corruption, wipe it out entirely, we still have other major things that have to be done. For example, which I have written for the IMF as well, the independence of the central bank. So most of the issues go back to that. So people rarely, if you ask about 99% of the people in Sri Lanka would not know what the function of the central bank is. Yes. But when it is politicized, it's very dangerous, because you can always, one option for the government is you tax the people or cut down expenditure. I mean, these are quite unpopular. The more easy way is printing money. The effects come in a bit later, as we are seeing. So that's something that the governments have been able to be financially not so disciplined, because they had this backdoor. Like for example, if you look at Sri Lanka, almost 76 out of 76 years, we have never balanced our budget. We always spend more than we receive. So anybody who is running a family knows that you cannot sustain that. It's not possible to earn 250,000 and keep spending 350,000. At the end, somebody is going to pay. I think
we are paying.
Yes.
There you go. All right, we need to get into a break. When we do come back, I'm going to speak about the opposition leader and why, in his opinion, he didn't take up the leadership when it was given. We'll see you after the break. Do stick around. We'll start. come with me. I'll take you on a little tour to Flowers by Epsilon that's located at Havelock City Mall. Now here is a chance for you to dream and recreate any synopsis that's in your head in terms of making it absolutely gorgeous. With flowers not only that are grown here in Sri Lanka, but also flowers from across the world could be brought down through Flowers by Epsilon. These guys have made a name for themselves in Sydney, Australia, and they have opened their second branch here in terms of their industry expertise. They have been in the business for so long, so now it's just a matter of us enjoying their expertise. So go visit them today, make that booking, and celebrate your special occasions with a touch of class, as Flowers by Epsilon really adds that. I'm telling you, the struggle is real. You have a little bit of this, it's a bit hard to find the shirts that you want to wear. You can be stylish, fresh, and at the same time have options to choose from. I'm talking about a true Sri Lankan brand that really makes this show colorful. It can make your wardrobe colorful as well when you do visit Double XL. Visit them at their flagship store, which is right smack in Bamlavidia, if not at One Golf East Colombo. Enjoy some great shopping, knowing that it's truly Sri Lankan.
Danu on Fire, powered by
Welcome back to the show. We are speaking to Talal. Now, I did speak about a question prior to break. I know that you're not working full time. You know, you're an advisor, not that you're in the party. What would you say as an answer to this question? Why didn't the opposition leader at that time take up the challenge when it was offered to him?
So to answer that, I would say that as Dr. Harsha De Silva explained a couple of days ago, there were discussions going on for Sajith Premadasa to take over. There was a thing to implement the 19th Amendment. As another one, and for him to take over. At this, on Thursday, according to Harsha De Silva, President Ranil Wickremesinghe went and took it with no conditions.
Right.
So that was because at that time everybody knew that there was a campaign going for the previous president to resign. So he just went in with no conditions and he got the position.
Right. Okay.
It's not that Sajith Premadasa didn't take it up. While he was in discussion, because there was somebody who just took it with no conditions.
Yeah. Now, I have to ask you, when this position was offered to you, what made you say yes?
So there are a number of reasons. One is I've worked with Mr. Premadasa for a couple of years, so I know him quite well. The first thing I would say is one thing that strikes about him, like I've met a large number of individuals. One thing is genuineness. So I can see that he genuinely wants to do something good for the country. So the intentions are very clear with him. The second thing is somebody who is quite hardworking. So I've got calls from him on Sundays from 6:30 in the morning.
That's a wake-up
sometimes even on a Friday at 10:30 at night. So if he asks for a work, he makes sure that not his secretary, he would follow up. So the ethics, the way he has a self-discipline onto work. So many call him a workaholic. So those are a couple of reasons. But coming back to the first reason, what I see is like, this is my personal view, is that he wants to do something good for this country, partly out of genuine concern, but at the same time I feel that he wants to complete what his father wanted to do for the country, because his father was never able to complete his term. So that sort of genuinity I see in him as a leader. And also the humbleness when you work with him. Like for example, a thing that I would share is, for every 5 sentences he speaks, there would be a sorry, thank you, or a please that you don't get with even the ministers or others or people at the lower end. So that sort of humbleness, the meetings, the long meetings, sometimes everyone else on the table is like,
Just
we
go
want
on.
to go home, but it's just the stamina he has, or the amount of information he absorbs. Like anything you don't know, he will always ask others from anyone. A large number of stakeholder consultations have been done. For example, working on the education policy, where I was also part of a couple of years ago. I mean, as the opposition leader, enormous amount of time bringing in so many experts from even global organizations to put in the education policy framework. So these sort of things, you usually see opposition leaders or opposition parties just going onto the street, protesting, holding press media. But this is something like he wants to actually find out the root cause and give the solutions to the people.
Now, I have to ask you, on an individual level, would you like the UNP and Sajid's party to merge once and be what they were?
So, I mean, that is not for me to decide, but I think
on a
there is
personal level.
Yeah, on a personal level, I would say that there is a bit of differences, as Mr. Premadasa himself says. I mean, the SJB is capitalism with a human face.
Right.
So we are a bit like the economic team says, SJB stands for the UNP of J.R. Jayawardena and Ranasinghe Premadasa. So there has been a sort of a shift with Ranil Wickramasinghe.
Right. There's always the reason is because as a small country, we're battling with keeping tabs on the amount of political parties that are actually available. Apart from the fact that which are represented in the parliament, we have so many parties. So I think for a small country and a parliament of, well, a lot of ministers and members of parliament, I don't think we need so much of. That's what my opinion. I have to ask you, when you were growing up, what did you want to be?
So I mean, I never had a sort of a when I was young, fixed in school. There were many things. For example, though not entirely my decision, I went to the UK. I was in London initially to study civil engineering.
Right.
But I dropped out and, I wanted to pursue more on the business/economic side.
Right.
So that got me to places afterwards. And also after completing my studies in the UK, I had an opportunity to work there. But I was like, I always wanted to come back
home.
Even for the summer holidays, rather than there, I'd be here.
Yeah.
So there is something like, even right now, I wouldn't really want to leave the country unless I had no other choice.
I'm totally with you. There's no place like home, especially Sri Lanka. We are just too blessed to let this go. We'll see you after the break. Do stick around. We'll come back and speak more about what makes him him after this. Do stick around. This is Danu on Fire. Just come with me. I'll take you on a little tour to Flowers by M. Ceylon that's located at Havelock City Mall. Now here is a chance for you to dream and recreate any synopsis that's in your head in terms of making it absolutely gorgeous. With flowers not only that are grown here in Sri Lanka, but also flowers from across the world could be brought down through Flowers by M. Ceylon. These guys have made a name for themselves in Sydney, Australia. They have opened their second branch here in terms of their industry expertise. They have been in the business for so long, so now it's just a matter of us enjoying their expertise. So go visit them today, make that booking and celebrate your special occasions with a touch of class, as Flowers by M. Ceylon really adds that. I'm telling you, the struggle is real. You have a little bit of this, it's a bit hard to find the shirts that you want to wear. You can be stylish, fresh, and at the same time have options to choose from. I'm talking about a true Sri Lankan brand that really makes this show colorful. It can make your wardrobe colorful as well when you do visit Double XL. Visit them at their flagship store, which is right smack in Bamlavidia, if not at One Golf East, Colombo. Enjoy some great shopping, knowing that it's truly Sri Lankan.
Danu on Fire, powered by
Welcome back to the show, and we are speaking to Talal. Now, I know during our earlier governments and all, we have had people being appointed as advisors, leaders, youth party associates and all, who have had extreme knowledge in nothing. So I want to know, what makes you the candidate who is fit to do this? Tell me some of the areas that you have worked in and what sort of kept this interest alive in you.
So, starting off, just to give a brief background, so I completed my studies in the UK, briefly worked there. Then, as I mentioned, came back to Sri Lanka, and my first dive was into entrepreneurship.
Right.
So we had a co-working space, digital marketing firm, and then I moved into the development sector. I was working for a project with USAID, so where I was instrumental in leading the development of a mentoring platform to develop entrepreneurship. And yet again, I moved into another World Bank project with Moratuwa University, where part of the committee's work was to commercialize university projects. So these were a couple of experiences into entrepreneurship and SME development. So from that area, I was like, I used to, for example, involved with the World Economic Forum. I still co-chair the Global Plastic Innovation Network Action Group of the World Economic Forum. I write for them and been on committees for gender equality at Chatham House. But then I moved into Deloitte. So Deloitte gave me a real experience on the global stage. I was on their global ESG operations team. So this was a 30-member team that overlooked ESG for the entire Deloitte Global. So that firm is like nearly 500,000 people. So for such a large organization, I had the privilege of being there, and I was the sort of the main contact person dealing with relationship management with Google, AWS, and other companies. So there I was also in the Deloitte Global Economics Network. So that gave me sort of experience dealing with experienced macroeconomists from the US. So you used to have a bi-weekly meeting where I would get to understand what was going on in Japan, what was going on in the Netherlands. So those all added up to my, what you could say, wider knowledge.
Yeah.
But recently I've been working with the Asian Development Bank as a consultant on economic policy. So here what gives me added knowledge is working on public sector reforms and also SME development. So these, along with being part of various committees, for example, being with the National Agenda Committee of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce or being on an advisory committee at the Export Development Board. So gave me a wider understanding. But what really drove me again to come into policy was that once I stepped into the development sector, I saw that, what can be done and what needs to be done. So when you're in the development sector, you see the level of poverty that's there. There are people who struggle to have meals. There are people who have children, have to go and work. There are people who, sometimes give up on life because they can't have, they have children, they have literally no choice. So I always feel that when there is poverty, it's a crime that we can all have a good life, but there are certain sections who are deprived of something basic, which people in Colombo can well afford to give. So it doesn't make me a socialist, but I'm always on for, like what Mr. Premadas says, capitalism with a human face. Yes. And especially what drove me is, for example, even a lot of politicians don't talk about this, orphans, like people under 18, they don't have votes. Nobody really cares except those who are genuine. Just imagine no parents, and with parents, with the background education, we are finding it tough. But these are people who don't have any resources to come out. There is no emotional support. So what I felt was, if I can play a role, I mean, people say young people should come into politics, but then if the opportunity is offered to me and I say no, I mean, I can't go around blaming other people. So that all added up
To
to,
make
I
this decision.
genuinely want to feel like I should make a change.
And do it in some form or shape.
Do it in.
And if there is a chance for you to enter through the national list, would you take it?
I mean, when it comes, I can decide.
That's a yes. No, it's absolutely amazing to see young people come in. I think we call them the keyboard warriors, but I call it the wheelchair warriors. It's time. Because I feel like their contribution to this country was needed at that time, at their prime, at their best. Now it's time that we have the younger coming and pushing and changing the way that our country goes forward. And there's nothing wrong in moving away from the old. We are just moving away from the old, using what they have set as an example to grow beyond. So if only the older will understand the new is only there to enhance the journey that they began or started, I think that's what they need to understand. Please, just record this clip and send it to them. You can, but I feel like it's time we make newer policies that include internet, it includes modern thinking, it includes the whole, chat GPT, all of these kind of things, so that, our future kids are not going to be shocked about the most simple things, and the world sees it as nothing. And I'm so happy that you were on the show to speak about this. And I really hope the best person sits as the president. October 17th is cut-off date for us to have somebody new or old or anything. But somebody needs to be the president. So it's still mystery for all of us. I hope the mystery gets solved in the right way. Tell me, there was a issue in terms of minority. I think 2018 was a year that really tested our times, especially when the Muslims were targeted, and in 2019 it became crucial. What was your thinking at that time?
So, my thinking is, of course, we condemn. So it was done by probably people who don't represent the religion we ourselves.
Yeah, of course, we all know that. I think that's something that we don't need to talk about. I'm just saying, some took this as an opportunity to, criminalize people who were not there, and they were friends, they were neighbors, they were kids who played together, and everything just changed in just one day. Right. Did you have an effect of that too?
I initially not personally, but I've always felt that one thing we need is to move beyond ethnicities and religious divides, because at the end of the day, we are all Sri Lankans. So one thing is unity. For example, even on an economic sense, like if you look at Singapore, they were able to unite. Countries which have been going on about majority versus minority, they have not been able to develop as a whole. So we always look at South Asian economies and Southeast Asian. So there has been drastic change. There people talk about trade policies, while in South Asia, unfortunately, it's still the old politics being played everywhere. So I think I personally don't. For me, religion is something personally inside the house. Outside, I don't consider myself. I consider myself as a Sri Lankan, and that's the end.
That's amazing, and that's what has brought you here. And I'm so happy about what you are contributing towards this country, your knowledge, your expertise, and it's refreshing to see young people make policies that are current, that's needed, and that's today. And that's what's needed. I wish you only the best. Thank you for being here, Talal. Absolutely enjoyed it. Follow his journey on social media. He's on all the handles. Where we will have to say goodbye, unfortunately, on the show. We will see you again. Till then, you keep smiling. It's a wrap. Just come with me. I'll take you on a little tour to Flowers by M Salon that's located at Havelock City Mall. Now here is a chance for you to dream and recreate any synopsis that's in your head in terms of making it absolutely gorgeous. With flowers not only that are grown here in Sri Lanka, but also flowers from across the world could be brought down through Flowers by M Salon. These guys have made a name for themselves in Sydney, Australia. They have opened their second branch here in terms of their industry expertise. They have been in the business for so long, so now it's just a matter of us enjoying their expertise. So go visit them today, make that booking, and celebrate your special occasions with a touch of class, as Flowers by M Salon really adds that. I'm telling you, the struggle is real. You have a little bit of this, it's a bit hard to find the shirts that you want to wear. You can be stylish, fresh, and at the same time have options to choose from. I'm talking about a true Sri Lankan brand that really makes this show colorful. It can make your wardrobe colorful as well when you do visit Double XL. Visit them at their flagship store, which is right smack in Bumlavidia, if not at One Golf East Colombo. Enjoy some great shopping, knowing that it's truly Sri Lankan.
Danu on Fire, powered by